Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. My name is Graham Day. This is Bibby, and we have a man doing sign language down below. Shogun FC/Shogun Ash Live /Shogun Ash. That's all the names under the sun. Yeah.
How are we doing?
Not too bad, love. Not too bad. How's things?
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, staying in the house, staying safe, all that good stuff.
Stay home, save lives, do podcasts on the scoop. Goddamn right. That's official government advice there, ladies and gentlemen. I want to say one thing. Obviously, let's start up officially and properly. It is 2 p.m-ish in the afternoon. We are Ice Cream, and in true Ice Cream fashion, this is The Scoop, your daily dose of news from the games industry and beyond. My name is Graham Day. You will probably be aware by now. You will also know that this man just here is Bibby, but this guy down here, we can't even keep him in a box. You can't contain the man that is Shogun Ash Live. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our very first trio stream, and we're proud to be joined by Mr. Score Cancer himself. One thing I do want to do though, get it out of the way very, very quickly, because I mean Shogun has nicely joined us on the stream. He doesn't know what I'm about to do right now. I'm gonna face, yeah. So what we're trying to sort out. So we've been trying to get show on for pretty much the whole week. So we've managed to calendars align, being a bank holiday, and that it's easier for us all to get together. One thing we didn't have, though, is use of the graphic designers that we usually have in the meantime. So this whole setup where we are in these boxes, this is all a design slate, and to get that, so we have a three-way, that's what she said, on that, we'd need graphic design support. We don't have that, so I've just had to butcher something together. So the fact that Shogun is using a green screen made it easier for me to put him in his true bedroom. So as you can see there on the screen, there is Shogun with his Manchester United decorated bedroom.
No. Why didn't you put him in a Tottenham one? Of all the things, a Tottenham one would have been perfect.
I got distracted. I was trying to find a bedroom with a picture of Dennis Irwin on the wall. That's what I wanted to go.
Of course you were.
Good afternoon. FBN92 says, lads, how's things? Are we all right? Yeah. So let me get back into the intro before we jump into the show. Obviously, you know who we are now. My name's Graham. This is Bib. No, this is Bib. This is Show. There we go. Yeah. And we're going to give you our thoughts and impressions on the breaking stories that have happened in the last 24 hours. The biggest, the best, and the breaking stories. And we want your thoughts and impressions on our thoughts and impressions. And that's what this is. It's a back and forth on the biggest stories of the day. And if you're watching live, it's important that you do give us your thoughts and impressions, because we will turn this into a YouTube video that goes out a little bit after the show finishes. And then that, in turn, gets turned into an audio podcast that goes out on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Google Play. So if you're live on Twitch, it's important that you get involved, because everyone else gets to watch on demand or listen as well on demand, but they don't get to get involved in the chat, which it could be a good thing. Shogun will tell you one way or the other by the end of the stream. But I mean, if it's not a good stream, he at least has a Manchester United decorated bed to just lie down.
I'm
and
annoyed this is still on the screen, to be honest. I'm
I get used to it, boy.
The worst thing is I can't really get rid of it, because if I do, then you where it is. So when you heard me going guest feed and stuff like that was me editing the segments of the stream. So I can get rid of the Man United room, but then you just sat with the bedroom, my room behind you. But the audience wants that background shot. Nah, I'm out, says Pirate. I mean, it was Shogun's request.
Get lost.
So there we go. Mr. Asim Tanvir in the chat. What's the emote, Bib? What's he saying?
One sec.
Oh, he's having a swig. Oh. That product placement from Sneak, GG.
Hello.
No. Have another drink.
Hello.
There we go.
There we go.
Asim says Ash is finally seeing the light. I mean, that's...
You just set me up here.
This is probably not the greatest way of introducing our first green screened presenter onto the show, because no one else will ever do it again, ever.
I'll upset myself up.
So yes, for those of you that are just tuning in, we are about to run through the biggest and best and breaking stories of the day. Some are a bit nailed on, some not so much, as you will tell from our lead story. If you've just seen the tweet on Twitter, we are leading with something that probably not likely, but could possibly be likely. We'll jump onto that in a second. Just want to do a quick shout out, because obviously Shogun is We have a resub as we go. Pirate, thank you very much for the 6-month resub. Very, very much
Ooh, I
appreciated.
sup hello.
What guy?
The text to speech says, "Ooh, I sub hello."
Ooh.
It's not the one, but thank you. Cheers, Pirate. Thank you very much for the sub. Yeah, I just want to say, Shogun, you can tell is a good sport because he's now sat in a United bedroom for the next hour or so, and I mean, look at his face. He's not enjoying it, but he's sticking through it for the cause. So make sure you go and check out. Actually, let me find a link whilst we're on air. There we go. I'm going to drop this in the chat. If anyone wants to check out a show, then whoop, I've just dropped it twice in the same one. That's not how it works, Graham. There we go. Links to show in the chat. Make sure you go and spread some love. And there we go. Let's jump into the news. First news story of the day. Obviously said it's a little bit patchy. If you've seen a tweet going out, you know what we're talking about already. But the first article written by Game Central for Metro says Silent Hill remake is still happening, insists insiders, despite Konami denial. So this breaking this morning at 9:45 on the Metro website. The article says the rumours. Wow, did anyone hear that motorbike / F1 car outside then? You can tell I'm in Salford. Back to the news then. The rumours of a Silent Hill remake developed by Sony as a PS5 exclusive will not die, despite Konami saying they're not true. It wasn't the news that fans wanted to hear, but last month, Konami seemed to put an end to what had previously seemed to be very believable rumours about a remake of the original Silent Hill being developed by Sony and most of the original team. But a PR rep from Konami US shot down the rumours, stating categorically that they are not true. That seemed unambiguous enough to instantly kill the rumours, but what does not live may never die. And now a new source is claiming that the remake is real after all. The rumours returned thanks to a poster called Catharsis T on forum Reset Era, which is frequented by many industry figures, and who claimed that the remake will be announced in the next few months. According to them, the original director, Keiichi Toyama, who only ever worked on the first game in the series, is involved, along with creature designer Masahiro Ito and composer Akira Yamaoka. Do you know what? We should have had Bibby reading this. That would have been legendary.
No, mate.
The rumour is essentially the same as the original one, including the fact that Sony are developing the remake and that it will be a PS5 exclusive, which is the only way it could really work, given Toyama is still employed at Sony's Japan studio. Although Catharsis T refused to share their sources publicly, they privately convinced moderators on the forum that the information was accurate, as members are not allowed to post unsubstantiated rumours. There was no mention of the second part of the original rumour that Hideo Kojima is working on a different Silent Hill game, although in recent days he has still been talking about his desire to make a horror game. Independently from the forum post, serial leaker Aesthetic Gamer has also insisted that the remake rumours are still true, while denying earlier talk that Sony is attempting to acquire multiple Konami franchises, including Castlevania and Metal Gear. Horror site Rely on Horror, which also helped spread the initial rumour, has always stated that they believe it's true even after Konami's statement. Now we have an embedded tweet that says, because some people are asking me about it due to Suihiro Maruo visiting Capcom's offices and posting the Silent Hills thing, I'll continue saying what I've been saying. I still believe what I've shared is true. And in brackets, Sony Japan Studio making a Silent Hill game with Toyama, Akira, and then the tweet ends. There's a second part that's not linked in the article. GG. The only glint of hope during the initial denial was that it was Konami US that was making this statement, not anyone in Japan who would be closer to the potential development. Whether that combined with this new version of the rumour is enough to give fans hope probably depends on how much you want it to be true. But while most rumours like this collapse as soon as there's an official announcement, this hasn't happened this time. If the rumours are true, then you'd expect to maybe see an announcement whenever the PlayStation 5's game lineup is revealed, presumably sometime in the next few months. Although the biggest knock against the rumours, even more so than a denial by Konami US, is simply that Silent Hill has never been that big a franchise, and you wouldn't have thought Sony would go to all this trouble to acquire it as an exclusive. What? But anyway, if they are, then we're sure fans are not going to complain, especially after the rollercoaster ride that these rumours have been. Let's open things up with the new boy, the new man. That's enough about me. I don't even know where that was going, but Show, what are your thoughts?
Well, I'm not going to pretend to be like a massive Silent Hill fan, not played the games or whatever. But that last statement of Silent Hill not being that big a franchise is a very odd statement. So, oh, you're right there, mate.
Yeah, we can hear that, by the way. That's not for the viewers. They don't get to hear that.
Yeah, the listening audience don't get to listen to me blowing my nose.
Yeah, that comment about Silent Hill not being a big enough franchise for Sony to acquire is an odd statement from my understanding of it. That it's got quite a large cult following, is quite a popular game. Like I said, I haven't played it myself, but friends of mine have said that it's obviously a fantastic game and people want it coming back. I don't know where to position myself on this, whether I believe it or not, because when you get an official statement saying, absolutely not true, dead in the water, as opposed to we're not going to comment on this, that, I don't know, that would kind of lead you to think, well, absolutely no, they're not leaving any kind of, let's say, no ambiguity about it at all. Like, I don't know what benefit they would have of absolutely killing the rumor rather than not commenting and maybe letting a bit of intrigue build up and that sort of thing. I don't know. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I would agree. I'll just jump into the chat before we jump back on that. Asim Tanvir says, here's a rumor from industry insider Tassim Anvia. Another video game might happen soon. It'll be good. Also, could be bad. Dun, 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 breaking news.
Yeah, exactly.
So that Tassim Anvia comment, for anyone in the stream right now that wasn't in yesterday, I was kind of saying that there's a lot of reputable leakers at the moment sharing news from the games industry. In terms of people that have insight, that people that are known for leaking information, and it's almost kind of like in the summer of the football season when we have no news, when all the players are on holiday, and all of these ITK accounts pop up on Twitter that they're in the know that yes, this transfer is happening, this player is moving from this club to that club, and it's usually clickbait because they will pick a big club and a big player that will generate column inches, that gets exposure, and it's all about building on semi-believable stories to the point when I can't remember which football magazine it was. It could have been something like that, the Lad Bible or Bleacher Report or something like that. They wanted to test how far essentially fake news can go, and they created, was it at the last World Cup, they created like a team of the tournament graphic, made it look really official, and then just put loads of, like, they put enough players in there for it to be kind of like reputable. So you'd have like a Ronaldo or something like that, but then they had like Jordan Henderson as like a player of the tournament and things like that. I mean, that sounds a bit more logical now after the season we've had, kind of thing. But at that point in time, people were going, "The feck? What's a FIFA been sniffing with this?" But it kind of like, the idea was, okay, it started with something that sounds like logic and then went from there, and we've kind of even seen that this last week with the COVID stuff. There was that Southwest ambulance recording of a nurse woman going, we're almost about to hit 900 people dying from COVID a day. We've got to start shutting things down. People aren't going to be allowed to leave their houses. People will have to die in their homes, and this, that, and the other. And people were like, "Whoa, this sounds legit," because it sounded like an authoritative woman leading the call. It sounded like she was talking logic because we're almost at the point of hitting 900 people dying per day. There was like 838 people died the day before, but it was because it based the bullshit in truth. People thought, "Oh, this could be real." Which then back to the article. I've not even put the discussing now on screen, so anyone tuning in is just hearing me rambling about football accounts and COVID with no apparent link. But the link, all of that is the leakers that are on Reset Era, and I can't remember what we featured yesterday. But yeah, anyway, there's a lot of leakers that are basing things in not I won't say not solid. I'll say more of a fluid landscape. And when I say that, I mean Silent Hill is kind of a fluid landscape It probably isn't at all if you're working in it and you're in Konami, you know what's happening. But Silent Hill, as a consumer that's seen Silent Hill come out of nowhere to have this PT, to have Silent Hills, to have Kojima and all of the things, and then it stop, and nothing kind of happened. But there's been a lot of positivity around it, loads of recreations and remakes and so on. Silent Hill, in that context, is a fluent landscape that is open to be one, actually redeveloped, or two, just used by leakers and bullshitters on the internet. So it could. I think I'm kind of in the same boat as Shaw there, where he's saying it could be legit, but it could also be just Do you know what? This is going to make stories while people have got nothing much better to do. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to have the discussion.
I think that's the leading me most is Konami's language on it. If it said, "Hey, we have no official comment on this," or if they just kind of distance themselves from the comments, then it would have kind of made me think, "Oh, there's something in this." But for them to just completely kill it and say, "Absolutely fucking not, no, not a chance," there doesn't seem to be much marketing sense in that. If it is happening, because you'd want to have a little bit of hype behind it, unless they're a lot more extravagant and they're going about this a completely different way than I would imagine, then I can't see it being true.
So I was just looking at the chat then. Magic Man, someone needs to silent Graham and leave him on a hill to meander with his thread of thoughts. That's what we expect on the scoop. No, I agree. The fact that it has been squashed is you'd have to feel is an official hardline stance. You don't comment on rumor. That's the first stance is you don't comment on rumor. Sometimes you have to and go, look, just chill out. There's nothing there, because if you don't squash rumors can pick up a bit of pace, can move forward, and then rumors, like, they essentially they grow legs. They start moving. They become their own thing. They are a concept that people have already accepted and bought into. And if you then squash it at that point in time, it's like, okay, well, I've already adopted it, given it a name, and bought a bedspread for it. So now you're telling me that it's not real. Speaking of bedspreads, nice room you've got there, sure. Just wanted to. So yeah, it's for them to step out and squash it, and then the rumors to keep coming. I mean, why have the rumours come again? Is that, so playing devil's advocate, is that because they've got no better to do and they feel, okay, well, it being squashed by a PR rep from Konami US, did they see that as not enough of a squash down to keep pushing the story? Or is it a case of something new has happened? But speaking about Konami, Mr. Tassim Anvia, who has previously worked for Konami, has put a comment in saying, Silent Hill remake or reboot without getting into trouble with legal action, very small chance of things happening. You can bet discussions have happened in the past and now, but I'd imagine very little comes of them. So exactly. I mean, Asim obviously doesn't want to be treated like the guy from Crytek the other day, who potentially has been fired for talking about the PS5. But yeah, Asim can't say too much, but very small chance of things happening. So that's kind of an educated guess. Obviously, he's not saying fact. He's not saying anything that would get him into trouble. But that's kind of an educated guess in that sort of sense. And I would kind of see it as the same. If things are going to be happening, I can't imagine that. What is it I'm trying to say? I can't imagine that the news would come out through Sony representatives first. And do we feel? I mean, okay, so let's flip a question around then. A Silent Hill remake being developed by Sony as a PS5 exclusive. Do we think that is a potential? So if there's going to be a new Silent Hill game, is this not going to come out on the Switch? Is this not going to come out on the Xbox? Potential. I mean, PS5 exclusive doesn't necessarily mean it won't come out on PC. Shout out to Death Stranding. But do we feel that's likely?
I don't know. I was just actually thinking while we were talking then. There's been talk over the years of Konami's changing direction. Obviously, a lot of people like to reference the whole pachinko machines and that sort of thing, and them potentially hemorrhaging a lot of their kind of IPs and stuff. And if you believe that sort of thing, then I guess that kind of adds legs to this rumor. I don't know. Of all things, I could see that being more believable than it just going out everywhere. I could see Sony probably being at the front of that queue if it was to be able to be acquired, in that sense. But like I said, I don't believe the rumor, so that's kind of my general stance on that. But yeah, that'll be where I'd say.
Your thoughts, babe?
The other Konami, I think, will be looking over at Capcom and looking at how much money's just been made by Resident Evil. Shall I say, the daddy when it comes to survival horror games, the grandfather, the godfather, the top tier, the AAA, the #1 survival horror game ever. That's not even an understatement either. Without Resident Evil, Survival Hill would never ever be a thing. But the amount of money that they've made,
Sorry, just got some.
well, they are. Without Resident Evil is the king and the grandfather, the godfather, the people who laid the foundations for every other survival horror game that ever came after it. There's a reason why it is the best thing, and fair enough. Yeah, it's survival horror, and you got things like psychological horror, which is what Silent Hill have made their name from. But they must be looking over the fence and seeing how much money Resident Evil have made from their remakes over the last year, 18 months, and wondering, can we actually be able to cash in on that? And there must have at least talks about it to potentially remaster the first one. They've already done it once, and they did it for Shattered Memories on the PSP. But will they do it for a top tier console with the best graphics available and the best engines that they have available to them? I think they'd be daft not to get the ball rolling with that. Do I think it'll happen? I do. Do I think it'll happen for the PS5? Probably, but I wouldn't expect to see it for another 2.5 years at least, if that was the case.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I mean, there is always the potential of Silent Hill remake or reboot or additional game. I mean, at this point in time, you've got to feel it can't be a sequel, because most people have not engaged with the last 3 or 4 Silent Hill releases, and most people that have thought they were okay, that's fine. But they haven't been groundbreaking, earth-shattering games in any genre, really. So you got to feel, okay, it's not going to be a sequel. It could be a reboot then, taking this series in a new direction. It could be a remake of an original game. So there's always the potential it could happen. But for something so monumental and something that was so well protected, I mean, Silent Hill with a PS5 crossover, with a PS crossover, aka I'm talking about Silent Hills now, that managed to get to the point where they had Hideo Kojima on stage at a press conference in Germany alongside the game going live on PSN. The PT going live on PSN for people to play before people had even heard of it. So if they can get to that level without any news of it coming out, you've got to wonder, where is this leak coming from? Because that involved having Konami and their top levels and social teams and everyone involved in it. That involved having PlayStation, their top levels and social teams all involved in it. Getting it onto the network, I mean, yeah, fair enough. It's a little bit different now because the PS network tends to leak everything these days. Shout out to Resident Evil there. So yeah, you've got to wonder though, where is this information coming from? Because if that was to happen, there is a network that has been created that would be able to maintain that without leaks. Never mind this level of persistent leaks. It seems like, yes, maybe someone has wind of conversations, but someone having that kind of conversation doesn't sound like news to me. There was a really, really successful game that hasn't made a game for a while. There's potential it would make a new one. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Manchester United used to be good. There's potential they may win games regularly again. I know there's potential. Doesn't mean it's going to happen right now, does it? Well, particularly not right now. So, there was something actually I saw before from Rise. Hi, Rise. Good afternoon. Oh, there we go. I just got you lads in some beef with another streamer. Yeah, bring the beef. We like some beef. Told Connor Wolf to raid you after stream, but he said he can't be asked typing your name in. Well, god damn it. So I'm gonna have words with Connor.
Is that the beef? Is that the beef that we're getting? I mean, fair enough. It's quite a long name.
I mean, you don't even have to do that.
It's all right.
Just use the dashboard and type ice see,
Yeah.
and we're probably going to be there. God, I'm going to have a word with him. I'll have words, don't worry. Seems likely that it happens at least as a console game, possibly a mobile game down the line using the name. I mean, I think that is definitely possible. I mean, I wouldn't count out a console game myself, but yeah, I mean, a mobile game can happen anywhere with anything. It's not that developing for a mobile game is like developing for a SNES or a Master System or anything like that, but obviously you don't need the amount of development in terms of teams and so on, and it's quicker and easier and more flexible to get your product to market and so on. So yeah, I think that's always possible, but I can't imagine that being something that would be in demand as this sort of content is. Asim says if it does happen, yeah, it could potentially be a PlayStation exclusive. They have a good relationship with them, but it would need to be worthwhile money-wise. Very much agree. Ads, thank you very much for the host as well, by the way. Much appreciated. Never really understood the fascination for Silent Hill compared to Resident Evil. Most simple people don't, Madge. It's fine. It's okay. That's for the meandering on a hill with his thoughts comment. You're welcome. You're welcome. Like most businesses, Konami are ultimately driven by money, says Tassim Anvia. Silent Hill coming back would need to make financial sense. Working with a third-party developer costs money, in brackets revenue share, so would need to sell enough units worldwide. Exactly. That's the thing. So Silent Hill, according to Game Central at Metro, is simply that Silent Hill has never been that big a franchise. Do we believe that is the case? And if that is the case, is that why they would be looking at a PlayStation exclusive? Do they feel that bringing it out would sell anything anyway with that level of first party of partnership?
I feel like if it did happen, again, I'm very much of the opinion that this at this moment isn't a thing. But if it did happen, I don't think they'd have a problem shifting units at all with this. You'll get the people who will just be generally intrigued by the big name of the brand. There'll be people who will get it purely off of nostalgia. I don't think they're would have a problem bringing Silent Hill into the next gen. I don't think that would be the issue from my side of things. Again, I'm open to being corrected on that, but I wouldn't see that being the stumbling block, if anything.
Yeah, I think. Okay, let's say Silent Hill isn't a big series, and there's all sorts of like. I mean, I dropped off after the early games, so I'll probably get. Is it Silent Hill Shattered Memories or Book of Memories, or was there something like? There's quite a few different titles that passed me by completely. I mean, I was aware of them and I helped cover them in different fashions, but never played any of them. But a series that had such a big initial launch and then was spun off into Hollywood film franchises, and then let's say it did drop off, and yes, let's say it did become something that has never been that big a franchise. I mean, it had been a bigger franchise, but let's say it had become smaller. The whole thing with Hideo Kojima, Norman Reedus, Del Toro, and PlayStation around Silent Hills, surely you can't be forgetting that was huge and still remains to be huge. Whenever anyone talks about horror games, you look at like every Halloween, you'll have a BuzzFeed sort of top 5 scary games, and there'll always be a sadly this is the one that got away sort of comment of we never got to play PT in its final form, grrr, something like that. But you can't ever say it's not that big. That wasn't big in terms of sales because it never got any sales. It didn't get to that point. But the demand for it, even now, like 5 years later on, is still huge. It's probably more than 5 years now, is it? I don't know. But yeah, that's still huge. So not having that one, Game Central, not having that one.
It depends what they're putting as being a big franchise. Like, I mean, if you're going to compare it to something like FIFA, then sure, no, most things are not big games compared to that. But no, Silent Hill is not this kind of obscure indie title that only a few people have heard of. Like, it's a big enough title. It has a brand attached to it. Like, I'm not having that at all.
No, it is a smallish franchise in the terms of the horror market, because the horror market is not a massive market for people to want to go into. If you was to do a survey of 3,000 people, I'm very certain that horror will be towards the bottom of the list of what games people play. In the horror franchise itself, it's a massive game, very much like Resident Evil is, very much like Amnesia was. So you've got survival horror games that are staples of that genre. But in terms of the wider global market of people who enjoy playing video games, horror isn't anywhere close to being in the top 5. I'd be surprised if it's in the top 10 genres of people. Like Graham, very much like, for instance, has only just started picking up the Resident Evil games. I imagine now when he's going to go on and play Resident Evil 3, and then if there was to make 4, he'd probably get into 4 again. I've told him not to go back and play 0 and 1 because there was the old tank controls. I know he'll get pissed off with it. But the way that the camera is, and the way that the game's laid out now, very much appeals to that type of gamer. It's if there was to make Silent Hill remake, are they going to make it tank controls like it was back in 1998? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think they'll have to do a complete reimagining like they have done with the Resident Evil franchise. But in terms of if you're comparing apples to apples, i.e. games within a genre, then yeah, fair enough, it is classed as a massive franchise. If you're comparing it to other genres, then no, Silent Hill, Resident Evil, or any other survival horror game for that fact, I don't even think compare or come close to any other games like Grand Theft Auto, FIFA, Call of Duty, whatever it is. It'll get blown out of the water by every other franchise there is out there.
Yeah, I agree. But we'll leave that there. We'll move forward. I'll jump back through the chat because a couple of things I did see. I am confused. What's with the plain white t-shirt, Graham? I don't like it. Screw you, Mum! I'm wearing this and nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
It's a really nice sunny day in Manchester today. I've had to shut the blinds completely to let no light in because, that's what us Mancunian-based people do. Any sort of sunlight, we're like vampires. I mean, Bibby's literally sat there off camera. He's got 3 cagoules lined up. Not so he can choose which one.
Do you know what? I have actually got 3 of them.
That's amazing.
I've got 3 of my golfing ones. I've got my Under Armour one, I've got my Adidas one, and I've got my City one all here ready.
That's amazing.
You never know, do you? You never know.
Didn't even plan that. Well, there you go. That's what.
Given.
So yeah, I was gonna say it's nice, so that's why I wanted something nice and airy. But also nice to let you see the trim run free. Oh, do you know? I was telling these two before we came live on a Friday night. We've now started a trend of doing pub quizzes with our mates via the medium of Skype. Yeah, people still use Skype, by the way. And yeah, I know I'd have dressed up a little bit for that, so I've decided to give you a little bit of the hair as opposed to the hat. But yeah, it's just, as you can see, it's quite long. But anyway, jumping back through the chat, reset area people are the indicator of the gaming world. ITK. We've covered the beef. It's never logical for Jordan Henson to be considered the player of the tournament for any competition. He's just a budget John Joe Shelvey.
True that. Oh, bag of shite.
Jumping back through. Never really understood the fascination for Silent Hill compared to Resident Evil. Says Bibby's alt account, Magic Man 1977.
I do like them both, but Resident Evil isn't as good as Resident Evil isn't as good as Silent Hill. Wait, Silent Hill isn't as good.
Oh no, you've heard it here first. So we're gonna click.
Someone click that.
Thoughts?
To be fair, it's not like I haven't got all the games right next to me here anyway, so they're already taking my money 20 years ago. These lot.
Okay, thoughts then. Resident Evil Remake 2, really good game. 3, I'm assuming's up there with it. If PT, I mean, I know this is a huge if because it wasn't anything other than a teaser, but if PT, if they'd remade Silent Hill that had as much punch as PT did, what would you say? How would you think that would? Do you think that would stack up? Obviously, you can't say, oh, well, I'll give it a 95 out of 100 because it doesn't exist. You never played it. There's all sorts of stuff that goes into it. But do you think that would have put it up there?
I don't think PT would have, if it got a full release game, I don't think it would have been close to what we saw in the playable teaser. I think that was literally built like the corridor scenario of you going around and changing every single time and you having to look at stuff to move on to the next part. That wouldn't have been anywhere close to being what the final product would have been. I think we'd have seen a completely different game.
Yeah, I've always kind of thought the same myself. It's like when you watch a film where there's a monster or something in it and not seeing the monster, and like the original Predator film, everyone knows what the Predator looks like now, so that's kind of neither there. But back in the day, you'd not seen the Predator. It was just this thing like flying through the trees or whatever, and then it's like, oh, you can't even see it. It's like see-through and stuff. But the fact that you couldn't see it, you knew it was there. That kind of got you hooked. And then when you saw it, it's like, okay, well, there it is, it's a monster now, and now we know. But it's the not knowing, and in a teaser you can get through without ever really knowing. Yeah, you see some flashes where you get Lisa appearing from behind and things like that, but you don't even know if she's the end boss. And it's the fact that the teaser doesn't really give it to you. That, in essence, has the benefit of always having that unending mystery.
Yeah, I don't think it would have been anywhere close to being the same in the playable teaser as it would have been in the final game. So, like I say, it's hard for you to be able to judge it. But we do know, or I say we should know, or come to realize that Resident Evil 7 was pretty much based off of what we experienced in PT. It was Resident Evil had never. Well, they had. Sorry, I'll roll back there. They had done previously first-person versions of their game with the Resident Evil Survivor and Dead Aim franchises that they brought out as like a sub-spin-off things. But I never would have thought they would have put them as their main title number order games, especially having the full game in first person and still incorporating all the survival horror elements rather than the gimmicks of using a light gun or something like that. So the fact that they would have taken inspiration from PT and made Resident Evil 7 the biggest comeback in their franchise. After the fourth one, I'd say it completely went downhill. But to bring it back with Resident Evil 7, to be an absolute slam dunk of a game, if you haven't played that one and you like to shit yourself, definitely pick that one up because you can pick it up for next to nothing nowadays. But
I can't understand why that phrase doesn't get used in marketing campaigns very much. Pick this game up if you like to shit yourself. I like to shit myself, yeah.
Well, I mean, you could have on the back of it 5 out of 5 stars. Bibby shat himself. There you go. That's all you need to know. That sells itself. But yeah, it definitely took huge inspiration from that and went in a slightly different direction in terms of what the Baker house was like in Resident Evil 7, but they definitely took huge inspiration from PT. And I think that legacy of having the likes of Amnesia, which was a first-person survival horror game, which was trippy as fuck. If you never played that, again, another game that you will shit yourself. And there's another one called Amongst the Sleep, which you play as a child through the eyes of a child, so everything's massive, so you have to climb up drawers to be able to get to the top, and it's all a trippy thing. Again, that was first person, so they're definitely taking inspiration from those games, but PT I don't think would have been anywhere close to being the game that it wasn't a playable teaser. Whether or not it would have been as highly regarded as the 40-minute demo teaser, whatever it was, that you want to go down, I don't think it would have been anywhere close to that, and it'd been interesting to see what the final product would have been like, how the story would have played out. Like, say, is Lisa going to be the villain, or shall we say, in this one? I don't know, but thank God it existed, because it definitely put give a kick up the arse to every other survival horror franchise out there to potentially do something different. And since then, Capcom's been riding the wave of a lot more money coming through the doors thanks to that.
Be interesting to see whether that big departure from the series that Capcom have been once again rumored to have been. That was the other leak. Capcom are rumored to be taking a big departure from the current direction of the series for the next game, which apparently is a tweaked Revelations game. So it's supposed to be a Resident Evil Revelations game. They changed direction, and it's now Resident Evil 8 apparently coming next year. But anyway, we'll leave Resi and Silent Hill and all of the rumours for those at the door. Let's quickly run through the chat. To be honest, on top of that, any beef is good PR. That's in terms of it. To be honest, if they could have their games as one of the first games to push the graphics to the console, then it would give them more light than it would get off its name. Okay, yeah, I get you now. Which in that way would push their sales up drastically to give them incentive to want to cash in on it. Asim says, rough estimate best-selling games in the series was the first one, sold approximately 1.6 million copies worldwide. Like Baby's first CD single release, so good effort there from the boys. Please, no time controls. OMG, Baby lol. For nowadays, that's not a big thing. Resident Evil 2 Remake smashed it, roughly 5 million units sold. Yeah, massively down for Resident Evil 3. However, there's no digital stuff in that, and with everything that's going on right now, yeah, it probably is. It's Predator Dolphin Edition. It's a great description of the experience, to be honest. The shitting it is a great description. Okay, it'll make you shit yourself. 5 out of 5 turds might be a better scoring system. Anyway, let's move in to our next bit of news. Straight up on screen, written by Matt Wales for Eurogamer. Amazon delays the launch of the MMO New World to August due to coronavirus. Closed beta now coming in July. So Amazon Game Studios has announced a delay for its massively multiplayer online epic New World, which is originally scheduled to launch in May, but will now arrive on the 25th of August as a result of the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. Writing in a blog post, writing in a blog post on the official New World website, Amazon explained that while its development team was making great progress, developing an ambitious MMO like New World remotely due to the pandemic has introduced some challenges. As a result, it says it's made the decision to delay the game in order to reach our quality bar as we work remotely for the foreseeable future. We know you are eagerly anticipating the launch of New World, and we're excited to share it with you, it continued. However, the health and safety of our team is our first priority. We hope you understand our decision to protect our team during these uncertain times, while we refocus on a timeline that will ensure New World is the best possible game it can be. New World's ongoing alpha, I'm assuming that was an advert there because that is blocked because of my cookies. I don't want to be tracked with ads. Get out of here. Anyway, New World's ongoing alpha will remain open in the run-up to the game's revised 25th of August release on PC as Amazon continues to test and tune our player experience. However, the previously announced closed beta, originally slated for this month, will now be held in July. Eurogamer's Robert Purchase, I'm assuming that's right. I hope so. Let me know, Robert, in the comments and below down on YouTube. Thank you very much. Incidentally, took a closer look at New World late last year. If you're keen to know more, there's a link there within the article for it if you do. As for Amazon's second title, free-to-play, team-based sci-fi shooter Crucible, there's no word yet if its own May release date will be impacted by the ongoing coronavirus situation. However, a recent report suggested the company's video game streaming service, codenamed Project Tempo, could now see its launch pushed out of this year and into 2020. So starting with the question from Magic Man in the chat, is there still life in MMOs? What are your thoughts, Bib?
Yes, there are. If there's anything that we've learned over the last 12 months is that MMOs do cater for a very niche style of gamer, despite it having stupid amounts of numbers that play it. You either love the way that MMOs play, or you absolutely hate them. There's no line in between. So if you are an MMO player, chances are you don't have any kids. You probably don't have a wife. Because there's no way that you're playing an 80-hour game throughout a week to be able to keep up and play at the top tier, unless you're spending 17, 18 hours a day being able to play them. It's very much down the line. You need to commit your entire life to be playing an MMO, which is why I haven't even scraped the surface of playing the Elder Scrolls Online. But MMOs are strong, the strongest games out there. They hook you in with a £30 game or expansion, and then they'll take £10 a month from you to be able to go and do everything else within the game. So it's basically a license to print money. With World of Warcraft Classic coming out last year, you've seen and break all sorts of records on Twitch, and players arriving back who hadn't played the game in 20 years, that have been coming back and playing the game again and picking it up from scratch, i.e. Luke from Ice Cream Uploads. He hadn't picked Warcraft up in a number of years, but as soon as Warcraft Classic would come back out, him and Lewis both got back into it and started duoing up to take down the flaming bridges of Asgard, or whatever the fuck they're called in that game. Azeroth.
Whatever the fuck they're called. Yes.
Yeah, whatever they are in that World of Warcraft mess. It's no Elder Scrolls, that's all I can say. But yeah, with the backing of Amazon, if they're getting into the MMO world, I'm fairly certain this game will be successful. Now, the spectrum and timeline of it being successful is I don't know. It is going to be successful, but in terms of, is it going to be as successful as the other competition that they're going to be going up against? I don't know. Will they have the longevity that the others have? I don't know. But with the backing of Amazon, I think it will still be a success. It's just how many people they can keep playing that game over a certain amount of time.
Well, I've just hit play on the trailer, which is on screen at the moment, which doesn't really give you too much. Well, not at the moment. Anyway, it kind of shows you obviously changing of seasons, and I don't know if that's the weathering of time on the map or whatever. But anyway, take from this what you will. I don't play enough MMOs to fully understand what's happening here anyway. But Yorkie Pud Pie, thank you very much for the host, dude. Very much appreciated. Good afternoon. Yeah, so a game has been delayed by coronavirus. Okay, that's kind of not really a big story. I mean, I'm trying to not sound like a dick when I'm saying it. That's not really a big story at the moment. That's something we kind of grown used to. Coronavirus is delaying a little bit of everything right now. Understandable. But my kind of question is, we have seen a streaming service launch not very well. We spoke about it yesterday, actually. Stadia now actually is doing some good stuff. It has a completely free-to-play couple of months, so you can get the premium or the pro package for free for 2 months right now. All you need is a Gmail account or something like that, and then you will have access to the base account completely free for everyone going forward now. Once again, all you need is a Gmail account. So that Stadia are starting to make things right from their sort of side of things. Amazon, rather than doing what Stadia did, Stadia went, "We've got an amazing new service and it's coming now!" Pow! And then when everyone, "Oh, nice, what games have you got?" They went, "Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. Didn't realise we needed games for our console. Fuck." Amazon, on the other hand, have Project Tempo, which is their potential cloud gaming platform. Instead of running out with Tempo and going, "Yeah, look at all the Tempo, download the Tempo, get the Tempo, do you want the Tempo?" It's like, what does Tempo do? Nothing, there's no games. Oh, okay, well, so it's just another Stadia. Rather than doing that, Amazon got, okay, well, we're going to release an MMO, we're going to release, what was the other one? Was it Crucible, a shooter game or something like that, it said. So they are putting their games together first. But the thing is, like, Stadia did launch with an exclusive game, Guilt, but nobody I know that's even looked at Guilt has gone, "Oh, actually, that looks like a console seller to me, or a platform seller." And anyone that has played it just doesn't even mention it. It's like, "Oh, it was alright. Yeah, it's fine." Whereas if they can have something, I mean, that trailer looked phenomenal. To be fair,
Yeah, it did.
I mean, it looks like something that I probably wouldn't play, but it looks phenomenal. The amount of the graphical fidelity on it, that's something you'd expect to see. That could easily be the new Elder Scrolls trailer. Yeah, and if it's at that sort of caliber, then that could be a platform seller, or at least give them enough of a stopgap so they can have a 6-month run whilst they get Crucible ready, or even longer maybe, whilst they come along with something else as well to start filling the gaps and give you their exclusives, give them time to finish building their exclusives. Meanwhile, throwing out some Destiny, throwing out some Doom, or other games that are on Stadia or third-party titles. Let's put it that way. So yeah, comparing that to that, the fact that New World has delayed is kind of part and parcel. It's kind of what we'd expect, but it's nice to see. Whoop. Doors just gone boosh behind me because there's a bit of a draft coming through, and now I'm out of focus. There we go. So yeah, it from my perspective, I'm not too bothered about things being delayed a few months. We've had it quite a few times. It's the world that we're in right now. It will all normalise over time. Job's good, but I think it just kind of shows you that Amazon are still doing it the right way around. They clearly understand the games market more. They're producing quality content, reasons to invest in a system, and they're finalising those before they roll the system out and just expect, "Oh well, people will play it because we are Google." No, that's not the case. That's not how you do it, Google. Do it Amazon's way and say people will play it because it's worth playing and it's there. Anyway, nice to see you all still making a massive effort with the amazing content you guys bring, especially with the current pandemic. Hope you're all keeping safe. Thank you very much, Yoki Pud Pie. Very, very much appreciated. I mean, sometimes, we have to, invite pro content creators onto the show, even if they just wanted to be here, just to advertise their own living spaces. As you can see, Show's just had a fresh lick of paint in his bedroom and is really, really proud of showing it off. So for those of you on audio services, I maybe didn't describe it clearly, so I'm going to do it now. Show looks very, very happy and proud, sat there in front of his fully decorated Manchester United bedroom, complete with Manchester United bedspread, wallpaper, stickers on the walls, and a huge team emblem, because he's just a massive Manchester United fan, and he's proud. He's an Arsenal fan. It's not real, but
I hate you with every fibre of my being.
I love you too. Yes. Anyway, Amazon delays the launch of the MMO New World to August. Until August at least, due to coronavirus concerns. I had to jump in there because Shogun was just about to start going on one of his long rants about how he's been a lifelong United fan and stuff like that. So I just thought, just cut him off. It's like. Anyway, Shogun,
Hmm.
do you have Facebook?
I have it. I don't really use it. But,
Well,
There we go.
This is a nice,
Um,
tedious link in for you. Do you know what?
yeah,
There may
I
be
do like this though.
a reason for you to start using it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh,
This next news story is definitely going to have me paying more attention to what Facebook are doing. Definitely.
Oh, let's have a look. Written by Christine Fisher for Engadget. Facebook's new tool lets gamers plan their own esports tournaments. Anyone can create, join, or follow a virtual game tournament. Today, Facebook Gaming is launching Tournaments, a new feature that lets users create, join, or follow virtual game tournaments, and the tool offers everything from registration to seeding, bracket management, and score entry. You can host single elimination, double elimination, or round-robin tournaments, and best of all, it's open to anyone. Facebook says it's meant to be a one-stop shop for everything critically important for tournament organisers. It should also offer better discovery for tournament participants and provide developers and communities with an easy way to connect. Creators can host tournaments while streaming, and the feature includes new charity tools that let creators fundraise for important causes. Now there is an embedded tweet from Facebook Gaming which says, launch announcement number 1. Social distancing means we have to be apart, but games can still bring us together. So today we're opening early access to Facebook Gaming Tournaments, a feature to help people stay connected through games. The product, The product isn't quite complete, but Facebook recognized that gaming is one way people can stay connected safely during the COVID-19 pandemic, so it's opening early access to tournaments, and you can test it out beginning today at facebook.com/gaming/tournaments. While Twitch still dominates the game streaming market, Facebook Gaming is on the rise. By the end of last year, the platform had an 8.5% market share, and it saw a 210% increase in monthly viewership year on year. The tournaments feature could help Facebook Gaming stand out a bit more, as THE Verge, I'm guessing that link's a little bit broken, as The Verge notes, Twitch and the other streaming platforms don't have anything exactly like this. Twitch Rivals comes close, but it's invite only and geared towards streamers and pros, not the masses. This does actually interest me. I mean, this comes after yesterday seeing a legendary member of the UK video games industry, Mr. Steve Merritt, sharing on his own Facebook. He had a family birthday. I won't go into too much detail, but he had a family birthday that he was sharing on behalf of a relative, and that relative said, nobody uses Facebook, it's for old farts, which I do kind of feel Facebook has got that way. I remember 15 years ago, Facebook being this cool thing where you could go on and you tag your mates in photos, and yeah, it's wonderful. Whereas now, your nan's on it, so there's no way all the cool kids want to be on it when your nan's on it. So Facebook kind of has got into that place. That said, Facebook is doing all sorts of things to not try and be relevant, to try satisfy needs from society. So having live streaming services, Facebook Gaming is investing a lot into providing a better offering. It has been ridiculously poor in terms of it's good to watch content, it's good to engage and interact, but the only way you can share your content on Facebook Gaming, this may have changed in the last few months, it was definitely something that I've observed a few months ago, was that if you had an audience, they could watch you and interact with you, but there was no way of getting exposure. There wasn't like a homepage that shared all of the creators and gave highlights to some. It was just pretty much just these are the people that you already know, watch them. It's like, okay, how can I find that new guy playing Pez, or how can I get a look at some guy with 3 Kaguls playing Resident Evil 3 Remake kind of thing. I mean, there's no way to kind of filter in that sort of way. But it's improving. It's improving. It's getting better. And this particular thing is something that, I mean, we as Ice Cream, aka Jelly Media, we do social media, we do gaming events. Bibby in particular has spent a lot of time working on our platforms or external platforms, organising tournaments, be that in person and digitally. And there has been there has been a little bit of a mini boom in terms of there is the likes of tournament, and what was the other one?
Challenge.
That's it. So weirdly spelled names. Tournament was TOO. Challenge is challenge, but with an O instead of a middle E. Presumably because challenge was taken already, as was tournament. But there we go.
Okay.
Well, the thing is, the beauty of those is that there were standalone platforms that you can use APIs to be able to put into your own tournaments. So if we had a website, we could use the API from tournament, put it onto our website, and people would be able to follow it straight away. Like with this, though, it feels very much like I have to sign up with my own personal Facebook account, which I literally only use for work. I don't use it for anything else because Facebook, I feel like I'm probably too young at this point to be using Facebook, but it's been around for so long that I actually canned my Facebook account about 4 or 5 years ago, and just used Twitter. But I've gone back into using Facebook for work purposes. Very much like I've got a LinkedIn profile. I don't fucking use it. I don't understand why people in the world still use LinkedIn because it's very much just a willy waving platform. Like this is what I'm doing. I'm clearly better than you, kind of thing. That's completely wrong. I know that, but that's how I perceive it because that's all I can see on my LinkedIn. It's just full of bellends, really.
It's
But
great on your
face,
LinkedIn, by the way.
you what?
Yes, he
It's
is.
great on your LinkedIn.
Do you know what, mate? I can't remember the. I actually had to reinstall LinkedIn on my phone last night, and I logged in. It was just the same shit, and I probably won't log in for
You're just looking
another,
for a new job,
another year.
clearly.
Yeah. Well, you know what I mean, mate. Hard times, but this Facebook gaming stuff. If I'm having to use my own personal profile to log in with this, people don't have Facebook accounts anymore that are our age unless they've still got the same profiles from 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Like me putting tournaments on and in tournament, I can get people to register with their own username if they wanted to, or I can do it for them. This kind of takes. There's no middle ground. It's like you have to do it all yourself. You have to have a profile to be able to register into this, and that is a wattle or barrier of entry for most people. But I don't think this will be anywhere close to being a tournament or challenge because they are so far in front. They've been doing it for so long now that these will be playing catch up for a while. But if there's anyone that's going to try and make it a success, it's probably going to be Facebook.
I think I can see a use for it. So, Facebook is still the most widely used social network out there, and in some regions, it is still the go-to for the younger audiences as well. Maybe obviously take any of these comments with a pinch. It all depends on your social circle, obviously, but I know that most young people in my circle of influence or my family tree, so to speak, won't be on Facebook. They'll be using the likes of TikTok and they'll be using the likes of WhatsApp video calls and things like that. It's more direct social as opposed to using something like a Facebook wall. And everyone else knows that's kind of the thing anyway. But I could see it be useful for the likes of, say, CSGO's Facebook page when it comes to doing the CSGO, the World Finals, whatever the name of that actual tournament is. I can see that CSGO could potentially use this as a way to, run their tournament so that people can keep track of it and work through the standings if they can't watch live. But you got to feel that this might be a step before Facebook are investing in Facebook gaming. Facebook are investing in tournaments, which is a new function for Facebook gaming. I wouldn't be surprised to see Facebook take the next step and then go, okay, CSGO, here's big brown envelope full of money, and go, okay, we want to broadcast the CSGO World Finals live on Facebook Gaming. We'll have it on our there you go, newly launched front page, which has ways to see Bank Union Man with a Cagoule and 3 copies of Resident Evil or whatever. I imagine that this has to be one component that is going to start to try and tie those bits together. Anyway, it has to be, in my opinion. If it isn't, then what is the point? Because Facebook Gaming has loads of bits like little satellites that all orbit each other but don't actually interact with each other. So Facebook Tournaments has your Facebook Live content video stuff, it has Facebook Gaming, and it allows you to link all of that together. And then, do you know what, actually, you want to take part in your own CSGO tournament? Well, you can build your own using your own account, and your friends can all get involved, and your community, your small Facebook page can start to grow because you can use it as a way to run your own community tournaments. So I could see, and with their endless funds and resources, I can see that they could close the gap on the likes of tournament and challenge. But yeah, I also agree, like Bib said, challenge and tournament doesn't have its own agenda in the same way that Facebook does. Facebook tournaments will always be there to push Facebook, whereas tournament is all, obviously they have their own agenda, but it's not it's not like, okay, we want you to use tournament because we want you to use this as well. Facebook is always that, oh, you need to use tournaments because it'll link in with your Facebook account, and you can use Facebook Gaming, and you can use this tournament. If you are just wanting to create an event, oh, okay, we'll just run an event on tournament. Jobs are good. Boom. If you are wanting a standalone web page, okay, we'll just use our API and just drop tournament into it. Boom. There you go. So yeah, it's good. It is really good. It does quite excite me to see the mainstream social networks getting involved with esports and tournaments. If they're just pushing it out now because, you know, coronavirus is here and they want people to play together, then that's not really going to get people playing games on Facebook, is it? Is it though? It needs to be part of the big plan, though, in my opinion.
I can. Oh, you've gone silent there. I can see this being something that's way more useful for brands, like you were saying, with like the likes of CS:GO. Obviously, with the Score Against Cancer thing, obviously I used Konami's Facebook page for that, and brands are still using Facebook very effectively, very well, and getting, you know, I would like to think, good returns from it. I can see them utilizing this more so than the individuals, or, you know, the smaller content creators trying to run tournaments, or people doing it with their friends. I can't see a lot of people. There'll probably be an initial spike and a rush of people to try out this new thing just to see, you know, is this useful? Is this going to be fun? You know, maybe drawing a few friends that they haven't done something with for a while. Over time, I imagine that will die down there, and this will be a thing where, like you say, Facebook are going to go to CS:GO, going to go to, you know, approach Konami, you know, EA Sports, and say, hey, we want to have some kind of exclusivity, use our platform, here's an envelope. And I can see that being the way that this goes. I think it's a cool feature. Facebook have been trying for a while to get their gaming platform in those spaces, and they're trying to make inroads. They're trying their best to be innovative with it as well. I think just with, like I say, with the nature of what Facebook is and the attitude towards Facebook from younger audiences, I can't see this being anything other than, in the long term, a brand level tool as opposed to for the individuals. It will be cool. It'll be nice to have, but I can't see the everyday gamer using this regularly.
I agree. I think that's it. You will see, if you want to run your own esports tournaments, you would go to something that's got a reputation for understanding esports and content creation and all that comes within that. If you want to post a picture of your family at a barbecue so your nan can see it, you'll put it on Facebook, and that's the key difference. Is nobody ever thinks Facebook is where I'm going to go to run a tournament, because I mean, who are you going to run tournaments with? And I think that's kind of a different thing as well that maybe hasn't been thought of. So I know if I'm going to play any sort of competitive tournament, I will play that with the people that I share the gaming sphere with. Those people that I share the gaming sphere with could be on Twitch, could be on Twitter, could be on PSN itself. I'm not guaranteed to have those people on Facebook. I never think, oh yeah, I'm going to go to Facebook because that's where I go for all my gamers. Nobody ever does that, and I think that's the key thing. It's a very cheesy way of saying it. Is a lot of people, probably most people, if not all the people I know, wouldn't see Facebook as their home of their gaming community. So why would they use Facebook tournaments as the home of their gaming competitions? And like you say, brands will be able to utilize that, but unless they create something that gives a need. I mean, at the moment, that by reinventing stuff that exists, it's nice and it's functional, and things like brands that are already using it, wonderful, jump on it. I mean, we as Ice Cream, we have a Facebook page. We could create tournaments and things there, but that's not necessarily where the focus of our community is. Obviously, as content creation outlets, using our content creation channels, so like Twitch as the priority, or like YouTube, that is more likely where we want our hub to be. So therefore, we use something that works with that. So that could be a tournament. It has been tournament previously. I can't see Facebook isn't the place to go there. So unless they change something, it is nice and it is functional and it is good to see. But is it real? Is it? It's a nice thing that nobody's asked for. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, yeah. I think of all the social networks that would probably get the most out of this, Twitter would probably. I mean, obviously their platform is very different to Facebook's. Obviously, Facebook's a much bigger, much more robust platform. But in terms of you're talking target audiences, and that sort of thing, Twitter would get more out of this from the everyday gamer as opposed to brands. I wouldn't be surprised to see them try and push for this in the future. Obviously, they have Periscope, which isn't it's not as popular as it was initially, but there is still a very good streaming outlet there that synchronizes very well with their overall offering. They could jump on this. They could position Twitter and Periscope as a gaming outlet. They'd obviously have to work in the way that content creators could monetize that. That's where it's going to live or die. They've had, the Twitter gaming and Periscope feeds that have come up where they will, I think it's more often than not, is it League of Legends that pops up on there?
Yeah.
Occasionally you get some gaming news and stuff, but if they were to position themselves as somewhere where, you can go and regularly get gaming content and that sort of thing and bring in something like this, I could see them having a lot more success than what Facebook are going to have with your everyday gamer. I think people of that age group are connected more on Twitter than they are on Facebook.
Even then, I think I'm almost kind of inclined to say that it's kind of been done. It hasn't. I mean,
Yeah,
it's still there to be won. So maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong in what I'm about to say, but it's kind of been done. So video stuff. The fight is already ongoing between Twitch and between YouTube. And then people will go, yeah, but what about Mixer? And Mixer has dropped back down to its normal growth curve without the likes of a Ninja or a Shroud joining. Now we've seen that it's receded quite drastically, not to the point where it's unhealthy, but the more unhealthier things are the team has been cut down in size and there's bad morales within the teams, as we've reported on recently on previous shows. So Mixer will take out that equation. It's not quite there with Twitch or YouTube. Facebook gaming has seen growth as well, but even that I wouldn't really count that in that sphere. If someone says, do you want to watch some content, where do you watch your video content online? Most people will say Twitch or YouTube, and then after those you will have Facebook and Mixer and DLive and everything thrown into a pot together. So the video content is gone. You unless you do something drastic, you're not going to win that fight. Tournament stuff. Why would they have it on something? Your Facebook account is essentially your personal profile on the internet. Why would you want your gaming tournament stuff alongside that? I don't feel it's that. For Facebook, for that, to see that being successful, it kind of needs to be what tournament and challenge do and give you a standalone element. Yeah, you can set it up quickly with your Facebook account. Yeah, you can add Bibby's Facebook account to quickly throw him into the tournament, or you could use his challenge account or tournament account if Facebook were to do it that sort of way. But yeah, it needs to be something that doesn't have to be part of the gaming, the Facebook system. It needs to be a separate standalone gaming system, and as long as they progress with that, I don't think that will work with them. And I think that's kind of where Twitter are successful. Twitter do have video content through the likes of Periscope or Twitter Live or whatever they're going to brand it as, but they're not kind of overstepping too much, and Facebook kind of almost feels like it's trying to be Microsoft in terms of, you have a media player, well, how about we have Windows Media's player? It's like, no, it's not quite this. You have Flash, how about we create Silverlight or whatever they called it? You have, so Facebook kind of feels like, you've got something, we can do our own version in our system that all works together, and it's like, we don't necessarily want that. We want something good, not something that's bloated and shared with Menan.
Which is equally Google's business model as well, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Once again, this exists. We've got loads of money. We'll make one as well and link it all together.
And sometimes having it all linked together is wonderful. Like the whole Apple ecosystem, the fact it all links together is wonderful. But having it all linked together by a controlled system is also restrictive. And is also monopolistic as well. I mean, if you're all in the same mindset of how it works in the system, you're not going to think outside the box or think outside the system, and that's what having all of that new stuff. I mean, having everything working together means that people have more ideas. There's more of a creative flair. So, yeah. Anyway, long story short, it's nice. Tournaments is nice. Can you see us using it anytime soon, babe?
No, not for anything that we do.
Yeah.
I just think it's a huge barrier of entry. It's not like creating a username and password on a third-party website no other personal information gets shared. For instance, on tournament, I can set it so that people can join it, or I can put their name in. I can take the barrier of entry away from other people. Just let me know if you want to play. I'll put your name in. I'll do everything else myself. Or I can say, okay, here's a link, register to it, and you're good to go. That's it. You don't need to add your whole family doesn't need to see that you're playing in a tournament. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's definitely something that I will not be using for any of our tournaments or anything going forward. It just makes no sense for us anyway.
The thing is, well, you sign up to tournament or challenge or any other tournament provider. Take your pick. You don't have to just use those two. They're just two that we've used a bit more than others. So if you sign up to one of those, when you set the tournament up and you're like going through the admin bits, is there going to be a pop-up and says, I see that you're near DeMarco's Italian restaurant. Do you want to give a review for that place? No, I don't. Feck off, Facebook. So, and that's the difference. Is people don't want to be bothered with that crap. People want to be bothered with the stuff that they are invested in. I'm here for esports content, for gaming, for news. Not my nan's quiche that she just cooked using. I actually use lentils rather than. I'm not bothered. Not bothered, Dan. Genuine.
Don't care, man.
I mean, but wonderful if either of my nans made anything lentil-wise or quiche-wise, because they're no longer with us. So if that happened, I would be terrified. But
yeah.
Anyway, clearly that's a good signal for us to move on, as we have one more story left to discuss today. Something that's a little bit lighter and a little bit more positive. Not that Facebook adding things isn't positive. I'm just saying it's nice, but it's not the most useful thing in the world. But this potentially could be if you want a little bit of escapism after COVID-19 fucks off. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Cross fingers. Written by Alistair Jones for Kotaku UK. EGX confirms September dates. EGX will take place later this year. In a press release earlier today, organisers Reed Pop confirmed that the UK's biggest video game expo even will take place from September the 17th to the 20th at London's Excel Centre. Obviously, that can only happen if the coronavirus pandemic passes, because that's currently a hospital. Anyway, the announcement comes after the postponement of EGX's indie-focused sister show, EGX Rezzed, which was forced to move its dates from March to early July due to ongoing concerns regarding the coronavirus pandemic. Taking place significantly later in the year, EGX was always unlikely to be so keenly affected, but measures are still being taken to look after both staff and attendees. Reed Pop says it's working closely with Excel to ensure everyone attending the show remains safe and will remain guided by the expert advice of the public health authorities. Excel is currently being used by the NHS as the Emergency Nightingale Hospital to help deal with an increase in patient numbers. Just jumping back through the chat before we go into this. Madge says, Star Wars The Old Republic trailer is awesome. Actual game, meh. And I pre-ordered, waited in line for 4 hours at PAX East to play it. Really? So this new MMO, I'm meh over. Same with them all, to be honest. Facebook equals Marks and Spencer's of the social media platforms. That is pretty true, actually, to be fair.
That's pretty spot on.
Nail on the head. Fatma Dave says, I miss MSN. Get out of here. As you can see, Dave mistyped 1472, which is when MSN was last used widely in the public. Time to head out to get bread. Cheers, folks. Thank you for dropping in, Madge, and thank you for all of the comments throughout the streams as well. Very much appreciate to have you here. So EGX 2020 confirmed 17th to the 20th at London's Excel. 17th to 20th of September at London's Excel Arena. Do we think it's going to happen? Are we happy it's confirmed? Thoughts?
I don't think it's a smart move.
Interesting.
I don't think it'll happen.
No,
I think it's far too soon.
Much uncertainty, isn't there? Really?
Yeah.
At this point, I don't think anybody would hold it against you to say, "Hey, we're not confirming anything until we know what the hell is going on with this whole deadly virus that's outside everyone's house.
Yeah.
We'll chill for a bit. I don't think anyone's going to hold that against you and say, hey, I want to book my tickets and be around people, which is the most deadly thing I could do right now. Like, there's really no need to do that, because all that's going to do is generate people trying to buy tickets who are essentially going to get disappointed if, you know, lockdown and such gets extended. And even beyond that, even when we are allowed out of our houses, if, you know, the whole social distancing guidelines are still in place and stuff, these events still aren't going to be allowed to run. There was no need for them to come out and announce that. I mean, it's nice that, you know, these events are still being planned to go ahead, and, you know, from a positive standpoint, you know, you want to have things to look forward to. I think an announcement of, hey, we're still planning on doing this, this isn't completely dead in the water, is nice. Putting hard dates on it's probably going to cause them more problems than any.
Yeah, it's far. I think it's far too soon for them to, like you say, it's good news for the gaming industry to potentially have something to look forward to. But September's way too soon. Like, I think by the end of the year we'll be lucky if we get a little bit of sunlight outside our houses at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's far too soon. How long away is that now?
September
So
is
it's
5 months. Yeah, 5 mons and a
yeah,
week.
it's not going to happen, is it? It ain't going to happen. No chance. 5 months. We're meant to be here for another 4 weeks, which is probably going to get extended by at least 2 months, 3 months to get everything else sorted out outside that, and that's if it doesn't get extended by then as well. So yeah, it's nice to have something down on paper, but the likelihood is, like everything else that's happened over the last 3 months, the last two-ish months, everything's going to get cancelled, including this, unfortunately.
I'm wondering if it's an insurance thing, in terms of
Probably.
they've had something booked in, they've paid some sort of deposit to confirm dates or something. Maybe they've had those specific dates booked for a while, or they've had other dates and they've had to move. Whichever dates it is, they have placed money on reserving their spot at the XL. The XL is a huge, huge venue. One of the only ones of its caliber in the UK. Obviously, there's a few dotted around, but in London, it's probably the only one of its caliber. So therefore, it's in demand. So therefore, you usually have to book your dates in a year at least in advance. And when you always have your event in September, late September, early October is EGX's window, going back from Earl's Court through to the NEC and at the XL now. There's only 2, 3, 4 weeks that it can book in at that sort of point in time. Everyone else, I mean, there's always ambulance shows, and that usually shares the NEC with, or it has done for the last few years. Obviously not last year because it was at the XL then as well. I mean, any sort of home show, bicycle shows, whatever, they all need events and conference spaces to be set up. So, Reed Pop have put their money on reserving their venue and their place for their week. But if they then go, actually, we're going to cancel it, if Reed Pop cancel the event, that means that they then have to default on, they will have to return money to all the people that have also reserved spaces or things at those events as well. But if they are made to cancel their event, so if they cancel it on their own, they are liable for all of that. If they are made to cancel it, then the insurance covers all that. So I wonder if the reason they're continuing is because of insurance concerns. Maybe.
I mean, it's the right thing on their standpoint. It's the right thing to do because they can't claim anything back if they cancel it themselves. Very much like your flights, and there's been gigs and stuff like that that I've not been able to go to because they've been cancelled. But I have to wait until the date of the tour of the gig would have been to get my money back. Like I was meant to be in London last weekend to go to a Tutankhamun exhibition with Samantha for her birthday, but obviously that didn't happen. But I had to wait. I knew full well 3 weeks ago that it was cancelled, but I had to wait until the 4th of April for it to be officially cancelled, and then I get my money back. So I'm guessing this is the same. They'll find out closer to the time that it has been cancelled. Once the date expires, they'll be able to get the money back.
It's probably a good job you didn't go, to be fair, because I've heard it wasn't even legit. It was a pyramid scheme.
Hey.
Nah, I'm only joking.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
Someone charging up.
I'm only joking. I'm only joking. It's a fair row show, to be fair.
Oh.
Right, that's it. I'm actually done.
And this has been the scoop, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for.
He's actually gone.
on this topic of the of EGX, I think it's a good opportunity, or potentially a forced opportunity, for these events to look at how they do things going forward. Obviously, we are in the age of digital information, being able to access content on the fly. We've seen that E3's been dying a death in recent times and is really getting hit hard more recently. I think, obviously, we talked about the insurance implications of this and the fact they had to put this out and whatever. But could they now start looking at a way of delivering this information to people digitally, as is going to be the only way they can do that right now, and being smart about how they monetize that and how they run that as a business? This is, if there's ever a time to try that, it's now, when you've got no other option to do so. Test the waters with that. I think there's a real big window for these companies, these exhibitions, to address the way that they address us as the consumers and be a bit more creative about it and basically take that step into the future now whilst
I agree. I completely agree. And we've kind of had the sound bites to say that is going to happen. So the ESA, which is obviously the body behind E3, have said that they are going to bring us a reimagined E3. They promised that this year anyway. Obviously that's no longer happening. E3 cancelled for 2020, but has been confirmed already for 2021, where they once again promised a reimagined E3. What reimagined means, though, I mean, if anybody in the world could do that, and I say anybody as opposed to anybody, any organising body in the world could do that, you've got to feel that the body behind E3 should have the capacity to do that. That said, this is the same body that leaked everyone's information before an event and then proceeded to tighten their security before they then launched their website and gave out information for that early about 2 weeks later. So yeah, GG. But yeah, it absolutely it stinks of needing that reimagining, and that reimagining I think exactly will or should have some element of that, in terms of, yes, there is the live show, and the show being the exhibition, which has all of the individual stands where you can queue up and play games and get your samples of G Fuel and get your free t-shirt for this and get your what was it I came with, Beat Saber flashing sticks, that's what I got last year, and a Fortnite foam hammer pickaxe thing. I got one of those. So there's all of that sort of stuff. That's all pretty cool. Yeah, it's nice, wonderful. Obviously mega queues, and it's all tried and all tired in some essences. If it's your first ever expo, it's wonderful. If it's your 7th expo, it's queues, lots and lots of queues in a game that you're going to get to play in 3 months' time anyway, or 12 months' time. But having it reimagined, I'm intrigued as to know, because before this, reimagined would have been, how do we use content creators to boost the messaging? How do we use alternative ways of installing pay schemes into games? And when I say that, I don't mean that as a malicious way of ripping people off. I mean, rather than using the old style DLC pay for, using thought processes along, obviously, the battle pass and the season pass mechanic that is in all battle royale and shooter games. That's new, and it's already been seen to be effective at giving people a good return on their investments in the game and allowing all audiences to be in one pot. That is the pay for content sort of DLC mechanic has been reimagined for the new games. We need to see that level of reimagination for these large-scale conferences. Gamescom have moved to having opening night live, which is where they have their own big branded conference, rather than just having, okay, well, we'll just hold an event and we'll let everyone else do their stuff around it and pay for it themselves. Gamescom are trying to have it where they go, oh, do you know what, we'll do the show and we'll give you a platform to push your stuff out. No doubt they're making money off it, hand over fist, but still the idea is they're reimagining the way that this can be something that they can have their communities and stuff to interact with. So yeah, this COVID pandemic having that impact, I think, will be good because it will force people into those. Like you say, having dates confirmed for EGX is nice, but it's how can we learn from this to go forward to make sure that, yeah, okay, we can't all be there in person, but how can we still enjoy everything that comes from the games industry? And I think you're right in saying that will probably lead to a step up in that. David says, I'm only 3 years older than you, you git. Shut up, get out of here. Your facts are irrelevant right now. Asim Tanvir says, lockdown will be on in the UK until June in some shape or form. Things won't be back to normal for gatherings until late 2020 or earlier to 2021. EGX is being optimistic. I agree. I think we all agree. We should find out today if they extend the lockdown unless they change the date for meeting with Boris still being in hospital. Enix says, yo. I'll read. Nice long introduction there. All right, calm down. We have got the rest of the stream to go on with. Stop hogging up all the characters there. Asim says the Steam Festival is a good way of doing these types of consumer shows digitally. Limited time demos for like 3 days. Yeah, exactly. That was really good. Was the Steam Festival, was that the first time last year, or has it happened before and it's just not been on my radar? Because I mean, I didn't participate in any because it came out in a particularly busy time of the year for me. But that is a very good way. For those of you that don't know, Steam Festival is basically Steam gives you access to a series of games for a short period of time, rather than okay, here's stuff that you can look at and stuff. It's okay, you can actually play this right now. You've got a short period of time to play it, have it, enjoy it, and then you can make your own kind of sort of switched on, integrated participation in the event, as opposed to just look at pictures and images and here's Keanu Reeves, which was a magical moment. But yeah, I think the Steam Festival, that was a very, very, very forward thinking way of doing things. Just bear with me 1 second. I need to do important things. I don't know if he's still here right now, but if Jordan is, yeah.
For God's sake.
Yeah.
Nice.
For those of you who don't know, John just had his haircut yesterday and he sent us a picture, so I thought I'd abuse him on stream, and as soon as he's back I thought I'd continue because that's what I do. I mean, it takes a little bit of the attention away from Shogun being sat in his Manchester United bedroom there. So.
I'm annoyed you've kept this on for the whole screen. You've got an alternate screen that you could have used and you've kept this on the whole time.
I don't know what alternate screen you mean. I would have. So the fact that you're talking about, so the alternate screen you're talking about is usually I make Bib sit on a shoulder on the shelf behind me on the shoulder of a little cutout, but I didn't have time to edit it into place, so it will all look skew if. There you go. See, like, show isn't there. I'd have to put Bib back over there, and so yeah, that's why we have.
You could have even had me in the sign language one that we had at the start. But no, it's fine.
I did bring that up every now and then through the stream, so there we go. Maybe we should. Yeah. Okay, I'll keep talking, and you can do the sign. There we go. Boots and cats and boots and cats. Needs more techno music. Yes, it does.
Yes.
But I think we have reached a kind of a natural climax of the show. EGX once again has been confirmed for the end of the year, 17th to the 20th of September at London's Excel Centre. Obviously, that's providing it is no longer the Nightingale Hospital. Hopefully it is, like we all kind of agree, and like Asim has already said in the chat as well, EGX is probably being optimistic there. But do you know what? Optimism can be nice at this sort of point in time when everything's uncertain. Let's all look forward to things that definitely 100%, absolutely 100% guaranteed are going to be happening, we hope. So yeah, we'll all see you at EGX. Yeah, sounds like a plan.
Yeah, see you there, man.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be easy to tell who's who. Bibby will be the guy walking around with 3 kegools. I'll have the bright white t-shirt and massive head of hair, and show obviously will, Dennis Irwin jacket and stuff on because lifelong United fan. But yes, thank you very much for joining us on today's show, and thank you very much for taking the United bedroom abuse like a proper gent. Very much appreciated. Next time we have you on, I promise 100% that you will have your normal bedroom and I won't take the mick out of you whatsoever. Oh wait, can you see the fact that I've got my fingers and my arms crossed?
Yes, I can.
But yeah, thank you very much. For everyone, obviously, if you have tuned in a little bit late, I'll spam the chat again with links to Shogun's channel. Shogun is he is up there with the best channels on Twitch that I've been on.
I was waiting for something really. Well, even still, I'll take that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, we lit up on some PES Co-op the other day. If you want to check it out, feel free to go check out Show's content. Although we did post a highlight video on Twitter the other day, which kind of showed. I mean, we won every single game that we won. Facts.
That's one way of putting it.
Victories were won by us, yeah.
Yeah, all of them. Anyway, let's wrap things up. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in for the show. Obviously, from myself, Bib, and Show. It's been a pleasure to have you here. Also, hilariously horny Twitter on Twitter. It says that is Show, by the way, not me. Show is hilariously horny on Twitter. He is the thirst. But yes, thank you very much for tuning in. If you want the thirst, check out Show on Twitter. And if anyone else wants a little bit more content, then feel free to check back in. We should be live on Monday, unless Bib gets absolutely wasted on the weekend because it's a bank holiday weekend. You know what?
That's high. That the chances are high for that. If I'm being honest, I was actually going to ask you if you're doing bank holiday Monday.
I assume so, although there is bingo in between now and then live on Twitch, so yeah.
It's going to be going down again, boys.
So yes, if you've liked what you've seen, please feel free to hit the follow button on Shogun's channel and ours. But like I said, we will most likely be back on Monday. The only way you can know that for certain is to keep your eyes on our social channels. The links are there in the chat for you. Feel free to go and hit follow on all of them. They are at Ice Cream Uploads across the board, though, so it's quite easy to remember. But as always, baby, is there anything that you would like to add before we do disappear?
Yes, I do. It will be of great help and appreciation to us that if you do see any video game news knocking around, because believe me, there is next to fuck all out there at the moment. If you do see anything, then do feel free to tag in at We've Got a Beanie at Graham_Day, and of course at Ice Cream Uploads. It'll help my job trying to pull all this shit together, because at the moment I'm scraping barrels, as you can see, dragging this podcast out for an hour and 35 minutes on lackluster news. So yeah, we would very much appreciate taking your thoughts and opinions and our thoughts and opinions, and then we'll include it in the very next show, which potentially will be Monday, but let's see how fucked up we get this weekend.
Okay, couple of things to do. We are gonna drop the end slate on, and we will raid friend of the channel OP3
Hey!
as well, because I've seen that he is live. But before we do that, we have to say goodbye to you lovely people that are here with us. And we always do that using one key message. You can see Asim has posted a blue emote in the chat, which is what you get if you subscribe to the channel. But I'm not going to be the one that gets to drop those words to finish off the stream. Our very special Manchester United loving guest will get to close out the show. So, in true Shogun Ash style, can we have a sign-off, Show?
Thank you all for watching. Until next time, stay frosty.
Yeah.
That'll do, baby.
Yeah.